Okay, I'll make a video based on a hot take I came up with based on and right after one match. Górnik Zabrze is winning the Polish league this season. There, I said it. Here it is. At the very minimum, Górnik will finish the Polish ekstraklasa in the top 3, which is huge for them anyway, as they would qualify for either the Champions or Europa League qualifiers and finish on the podium for the first time since 1994. After decades of struggle, mid-table finishes, relegations, near bankruptcy, and an infinite mess regarding the acquisition of the club, it finally may be the time, because everything, slowly, seems to come together. The team plays some brilliant football, the atmosphere is great, the stadium is finally being finished and it's often sold out already, the start of the season is fantastic, Górnik is leading the league, everything seems to be on the right track. This is a fantastic platform to build on, and I think this may be the season when Górnik returns to the top, and this video is about it. Górnik Zabrze is one of Poland's most historic sides. The Miners won 14 Polish league titles, 6 Polish Cups, and are so far the only Polish team to take part in the European final, the Cup Winners' Cup against Manchester City. The problem is, they won the last Polish league title in 1988, the last Polish Cup in 1972, and that Cup Winners' Cup final? It was in 1970. In the most recent years, Górnik established itself in the top half of the Polish top flight, despite plenty of obstacles. It seems though they kept achieving more than they should. Almost every year, they were predicted to finish way lower than they actually did. That's because the club never had the finances to compete with the likes of Legia, Lech, or more recently, Raków Częstochowa. The main reason being the fact the club was, and still is, owned by the city. The city, whose financial situation is far from the best, and it wasn't helped by the construction of the new 31,000-seater stadium. Górnik was obviously affected by this, and could only rely on pretty much free transfers and player sales. In the most recent years, this model worked and could cover up some of the administration-related problems, like the constant changes in the chairman position or an eternal lack of the director of football. The club found a way past those problems. Since the very quick return to the top flight in 2017, Górnik made 7 transfers, worth €1 million or more, with the record belonging to Szymon Żurkowski, a central midfielder who went to Fiorentina for €4.5 million in 2019. We established that in the recent years, Górnik achieved results beyond expectations, and 2 men we have to give credit to are the club's former manager, Jan Urban, and the key player Lukas Podolski. Urban took charge of the team before the 21-22 season, with a simple goal to keep Górnik as an established top-flight side. Despite a very hard start to the season, Jan quickly got the team together and helped Górnik finish the season in a comfortable 8th place. And before the very next season, he got sacked after a dispute between him and the chairman of the club at the time, Arkadiusz Szymanek. The reason for the dispute? The transfer policy. Górnik then signed a German Bartosz Gaul as a head coach, but he could only, barely, fight against relegation, and was sacked in March 2023. Bartosz's circumstances around his sacking were also bizarre. Before the match against Wisła Płock, Górnik released a statement that Gaul needs to convincingly win over Wisła to keep his job. He did exactly that, as the club went from 2-0 down to win 3-2 and got sacked anyway. This meant Jan Urban reluctantly agreed to return to the team, and he won 6 games in a row, helping Górnik finish 6th. But the big problem for the club and Urban was again the start of the season. Just like 2 years before and at the start of the second term, Górnik started slowly. Thankfully, the club got its act together, very slowly though, and started climbing up. In the second half of the season, half of the league was more or less involved in a championship fight, and Górnik was one of those teams. The Miners were as high as 3rd by the end of April, but a 5-0 demolition by Cracovia and 2 bottled wins over Stal Mielec and Puszcza Niepołomice pushed the club back to 6th. In a season where they could have low-key fought for Europe, or even the title. The 24-25 season started with yet another loss, a 2-0 to later champions Lech Poznań, and overall it was full of ups and downs. On one side, you had 3 losses in a row, and on the other, Górnik entered the winter break with 4 victories in a row. But after the play resumed, Górnik lost the form and started losing plenty of games. This involves a 100th minute loss to GKS Katowice or bottling early leads against Legia Warsaw and Zagłębie Lubin. With 6 games to go, Urban was sent packing again. The primary reason for this sacking was not really the lack of results, because Górnik stayed roughly at the top half of the table and this is where they finished. Urban still would have left after the season, as he did not sign a new contract. And again, you guessed it, it was transfer disputes. Namely, Jan Urban did not start new signings Matusz Kmeć and Usman So, to the dissatisfaction of the board. At least, Jan Urban is now the manager of the Polish national team, so at least it's a good ending for him. We must name Jan's part in building the club and laying the foundations as the coach. He did a very good job introducing the youth prospects, and the players regularly praised Urban for authenticity and great communication skills. The other man I want to mention is Lukas Podolski, but I've already mentioned him quite a lot in my videos, so let's make it short. He fulfilled the promise of coming to his boyhood club in 2021, and from that point is a key part on and off the pitch. He not only contributes a lot as the player, maybe not this season because of an injury, but also uses his connections to promote the team and give it opportunities, for example to sign a player the club probably wouldn't do without him, or get a chance to make a winter camp in a better place than initially planned. Lukas is also very keen on the idea of taking over Górnik as a whole in the near future and becoming the owner. All of those recent years were putting Górnik in a decent position and helped them slowly build up the momentum. But this season, it hits quite different. Before the start of this campaign, Górnik appointed a permanent coach, a Slovak Michal Gashparik. This was probably one of the better choices. Before coming to Poland, Michal managed Spartak Trnava in his native Slovakia for 4.5 years. Michal guided the team to 5 consecutive third places, 3 Slovak Cups, and a Conference League group stage in 2023. This was impressive enough for Górnik to sign him, especially as he already knew the environment, because he played for a short while here in 2011. Michal took charge and improved on what he stumbled upon. His most common formation is a 4-3-3 with a flat midfield. Michal's team relies on wide play. He deploys inverted wingers, usually Usman Sow on the right, and more recently Maxim Chwań on the left. They're supported by Patrick Hellebrand or Lukas Ambros taking half spaces, allowing an overlap with the wingers who cut inside near the box, all in a wide, counter-attacking style. Another move is changing roles for some of the players. Lukas Ambros was signed as a right winger, and this is where he played the most during Jan Urban's term. But now, Gashparik moved him to central midfield, and although Lukas hasn't scored yet, he's much more active in those half spaces, which Górnik benefits from. Another man who benefited from the change is a Norwegian striker Sondre Liseth. Before this season, Sondre often tended to drop deep like a false 9, and even once played as a defensive midfielder. But this didn't use Sondre's strengths. He is quite tall, physically strong, and can hold up the ball up front. So, under Gashparik, he became a target forward, and instantly started scoring. In the 24-25 season, Sondre did not score in 13 games. Now, he scored 4 times in 8 matches. The central midfielder Patrick Hellebrand also shines, and is one of the league's top players in terms of passing and pressing. We saw all of those changes come into full effect in a home game against Legia Warsaw, especially in the second goal. It started with a super quick wide counter on the right wing. A 1-2 between Sow and Hellebrand led to a long shot from Jarosław Kubicki and a rebound from Usman Sow, who later on completed a brace. It was a fantastic team effort, and I would like to single out the scorer. During his first half a year in Zabrze, Usman only scored 1 goal. In March 2025, the then Górnik coach Jan Urban has said this: Usman has a good sprint speed and can dribble well, but he doesn't provide the numbers. He hasn't scored much in lower leagues, where he played before, and he's already 24. How can we expect his goal count to dramatically change? And I think Michal Gashparik found the solution, and that is to give Usman a bit more freedom up front and let him cut inside from the wing. In his 9 games so far this season, Usman scored 6 goals and added 2 assists. We also have to discuss Górnik's transfer activity. Before this season, Górnik made sure to sign players as early as possible. This gave both the coach and the players the time to prepare for the season, and it shows. What definitely helped is a sale of a young talented midfielder, Dominik Sarapata, for 4 million to FC Copenhagen. But Górnik still relied on free or cheap signings. One of those free signings is Jarosław Kubicki, a tireless central midfielder and another key part in the win over Legia. There is also a goalkeeper Marcel Łubik, who came on loan from Augsburg, or Maxim Chwań from Lechia Gdańsk, who scored the opening goal against Legia. Free or cheap deals, as well as some of the youth prospects, are what helped Górnik build the team throughout the years, which showed the club's ability to work with limited resources, and it allowed them to establish themselves in the top half. All things considered, I was very cautious after Górnik started out strong. But now, after a huge win against Legia Warsaw, I think I can declare it. Górnik Zabrze are title contenders this season. A bit of an addition from Legia as well. I think Eduard Jordanescu's days as Legia Warsaw coach are pretty numbered because of his questionable squad choices. He fielded a second 11 against Samsunspor in the Conference League so that the best players could rest before a game against Górnik, and Legia lost both of those matches. Although we never know, Gonzalo Feio, the previous coach, was meant to be sent packing almost every week last season, and he kept his seat for the entire campaign. And now, I have a question for you. given everything I've mentioned in this video, do you think it's time for Górnik to finally win the league or at least qualify for Europe? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be very grateful for that.